The following special presentation is being brought to you by the New Jersey Antique Radio Club. Come see us at njarc.org. Hi boys and girls, it's me, and I'm in the lair, and I'm hoping everybody's having a great holiday today, whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or Festivus for the rest of us. I'm sure you're going to have a great day today, and I know I'm going to. Today is a special video for everybody I'm going to want to share with everybody, and I think it's going to be really cool because let me explain what's going on here. I just did a restoration of a radio, and it's nothing that special about the radio. It's a nice radio. It's a Stromberg Carlson 1400H. Very, very decorative radio. Just a really cool looking radio from the Art Deco era. The backstory goes is that a lady had given Rich, who's the president of the New Jersey Antique Radio Club, a call and asked, is there anyone in the club that could go through my radio and make sure that it's electrically sound and can maybe do a little cosmetic work? So, guess who got that one? But it was fun. And what this video is about is you're going to see a step-by-step process of pretty much not everything I did, but some of the major things I had to do to the radio to get it to where it is now. And the kicker is that this is the cool part. The lady who asked Rich to have me work on the radio, her husband is a disc jockey on a radio station. So it's all ironic that here's going to be this really nice radio that's going to do basically a radio disc jockey. He has his own program here in the New York area. Now, I'm hoping he's watching this video right now, and I hope that you get many good years out of radio, and I hope that it brought you joy. And I thought this is really cool that your wife did this for you. And it's just really, really, it was a privilege to do it because the radio station was an integral part of my life and my childhood growing up. So I've been listening to this station and listening to your program a few times. So it's just really cool that this kind of ended up this way. So let me start the video, and I will tell you the name of this person at the end of the video and how you can find out how you could listen to them if you're close enough to the signal area. If you're in Australia or somewhere outside the U.S. or maybe in the western part of the country, you probably could hear them online. So I'll give that information at the end of the video. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it and enjoy your holiday today. I know I am. So thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye. Okay. All right, boys and girls. And this is going to be the recipient of the work. This is a Stromberg Carlson, and the model number of this is 1400H. They also nicknamed this the Dinotomic. I have no idea what that means, but I guess it was, at the time, it was very futuristic, and it is very deco looking. I think it's an All-American 5. Let me flip this guy over here, and let's see. There's nothing here on the bottom. Oh, we got a missing washer here to hold the chassis down. I don't know how well you can see through that window, but there's a dial pointer in there. And it does move. Okay, well, that's a good idea, so I won't have to worry too much about that. Oh, here we go. There it is right there, the Dinotomic 1400H. So it looks like for the most part we got a AA5 with a 12AT6 instead of an AV6. That's just got a little more gain on it than the 12AV6. So, oh, and someone even wrote on here over here, Sam's. I can't make that out, but I'll find the schematic for this. And I always liked radios like this one has it. If you look over here, it has this little screw here, and it says right here, external antenna connection. So if you're an idiot like me and likes to run wires out windows, you can have a better antenna here. But I'm sure that there's a tuned loop on the back of this piece of factory masonite that's on the radio. So anyway, let's have a look at the cord. Oh, this cord isn't the greatest in the world. You can see it's here. Got a little chippy poo here, and oh, it's not too healthy a bite of cord. I was told this works, but whoever actually, if they had physically made this check, that's a rather brave thing to say with this cord. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to pull this chassis out of Bakelite box here, and we'll put a new cord on, and then we'll bring it up on the Variac and see just what it does. Okay, I figure I'd take a picture of this while I'm still working here. I want to show everybody something here. I know, I'm sure most of you have done with this before, and some of you haven't. This little bushing here where this wire is going through that I haven't changed yet, boy, it's an ugly cord. It's all dry, rotted, and cracked, but it's going away. I got new stuff. This reminds me of I think they were called, the manufacturer was Hayco. And all this is just like a little compression fitting that you wrap over this wire, and then you slide this in place here to hold the wire in place. So sometimes these come off fairly easy. Most of the time, well, sometimes they come off easy, but 2/3 of the time it kind of fights you. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pair of pseudo needle nose vice grip. This is what I normally would do. I go over it like this, and then I just kind of tighten this up and compress it. And by compressing it, I should be able to work it out a whole. Oh, it came off. So the idea is you compress this thing and you pull it out, and then it should come out. There it goes. Oh, now this time I got lucky. Most of the time these things kind of fight you. All right, so now you take this, and it will separate. Let me get a skinny screwdriver here. And this kind of slides out. You see how this whole thing is notched? I know this isn't the best. I get a little bit more light on there. Now you can see it. This actually slides and compresses the wire in place. So now you can take this out, and this comes off, and now you could easily get the wire off. And basically when you put it back together, you just reverse everything. You compress the connector or the compression bushing on this wire, and then you slide it back into this little hole right here, and that'll hold the wire in place. You don't have to worry about, tying a square knot or something behind here to pull that out. So that'll compress the wire and leave that in place. So let me take this out of the way, and then I'll show you what it looks like done. Now let me try it. Oh, okay. Am I in? I am starting to be in. Okay, I was doing this all wrong. Now just compress it a little bit more. When they probably the ladies were putting these things together when they were new, they probably had a nice tool to get these in with. Now I've got this thing, I don't know, probably about a little more than 1/4 of an inch in there. Maybe I could just slide it in there now. Let me see if I can do this. I'll tighten up these vice grips a little bit. Can I get it in? I'm putting a little pressure on it from behind here too. It looks like it's going in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a trained amateur. Don't do this at home. And look at this, it's going in. And now I felt it snap. There it goes. It snapped in there. And now it's good to go. See, now when you struggle when you do this thing, don't feel bad, because I'm struggling a little bit too. It's okay to struggle. But if you don't struggle, it means you're not trying hard enough. So got that in there, and oh, by the way, while I had the camera off, I decided to test the tubes. And this one has actually two 12BA6s, and one of them had an excessive amount of transconductance, and that's usually not a good sign. because if the radio plays after a certain amount of time, it'll go into saturation and basically it stops working and acts like if you had an open filament, and that's really not a good thing. So anyway, we got that in there now. That was fun. I can work with this. So anyhow, you look here, this is almost like a Xenia transoceanic in a way. You've got, well, first of all, let me go to the left, and here you've got the chassis ground, and then the B minus ground, chassis ground here, B minus ground here. I usually call the B minus ground a floater. That's just my own terminology. So it's similar to a transoceanic in that respect, but we're working with tubes that are a lot higher than 1 and 3 volt. We're working with 4 12-volt tubes and a 50-volt tube. So anyway, we've got the proverbial .05, which on this radio happens to be one of those lovely foil caps that are encased in Bakelite. So that's good to go. Here's the selenium rectifier right here, okay? And it's feeding this, on a schematic, it's showing a 27 ohm resistor to, there's actually a 2-section 40 microfarad filter cap on the chassis here. So here's one side of it here where the 27 ohm 2 watt, in this case is schematic, this is a 2 watt resistor going to this. And then here's the other 40 microfarad filter. And then down below that, as you can see here, you have your filament string for the 5 tube filaments. And then we even have a couple of resistors in between that. I happen to know that this 22 ohm is one of those little wire round things encapsulated in, I think it's fiberglass, which is just, to keep the heat out. So anyway, I took a voltage reading on the radio as it is right now. Now, mind you, I haven't changed any of the caps. The only thing I've done is change the cord so far. And once I get past this resistor, now first of all, this resistor on the radio has been replaced. Let's take a look at that. And rip, that's it right there. Let me back it out so you can see it a little bit better. So here's the selenium rectifier. Okay, it's connecting to this resistor here, going to here. And here's the 2-section 40 microfarad filter. Now this one, oddly enough, I think I could say in complete confidence, this is not the original resistor. I think it's a wire wound kind of similar to this guy over here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, you should be able to see that in the picture. This is definitely more than 2 watt, but on the bright side, even though it's a 500 ohm resistor, this radio was initially designed to run off 117 volts. My line voltage here today is slightly over 125. Your mileage may vary depending on the kind of part of the country you live in, or if you live in a different country altogether. Maybe you're, from Europe or Canada, your voltage might be different. But in the U.S. anyway, at the first filter where it's coming off of this dropping resistor, it's right now around 120 volts. And I think I could probably be all right with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and off camera, I'm going to change out all these resistors. This guy down, though, I got to move the camera here. There you go. Now you can see a little bit better. Here's a volume control. This is a .05. This is the foil cap that I showed or just explained in the thing. Here's a waxy. Here's another foil cap. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 caps I need to replace. And I'll turn the radio on just off of my line voltage, and then I'll have to do some voltage readings from there. And I think I'll just go by the filament voltage and see what that is, because the schematic shows anywhere on this schematic, there are no voltage readings anywhere on here. I mean, it just, it is what it is, so I'm going to work with it. It's the only one I could find anyway. I mean, this is, I got this from the Radio Club. This is Sam's. So there were 2 versions of this. There's a 1200 and a 1400, and this is a 1400 that's in the picture. I own a 1200, so I could always show you what that looks like. So No voltage readings here. Just the way it is. So anyway, so let me get to it and I'll start recapping this puppy. As you can see now, we have some fresh capacitors in here. I tested the ones I pulled out, and I just have a general rule of thumb. Anything that's more than 5% leakage, it's really the way to go. Is the right way is just to do away with it and get it out of there. The yellow capacitors here are the 1, 2, there were 6 of them, and they're all gone. The other thing I found going through this that I didn't like, and of course these green guys are the replacement filter caps. There was 2 40s in there, and these guys are 47s. One thing I didn't like though was this 1800 ohm resistor right here, and this kind of acts as almost like the choke. It actually goes between the halves of the speaker. So when I checked the one that was in there, let me see if I can just pull it out here. That one was around the neighborhood of, I think, close to 2200 ohms. So I decided to just take that out of there and put in a new fresh one. Let's zoom in on that. That's it. Is it going to focus? Probably not. Let me back up a little bit. Alright, so that's the replacement 1800 ohm 2 watt resistor right there. The rest of the resistors actually tested pretty good. So before I do the alignment, what I think I'd like to do is I want to take the radio itself, the case, and get that all cleaned up. You see here, I've got the case in the sink, slop sink in my basement, and there's a couple things I have to worry about. I have to carefully, oh, that one came off pretty easy. Looked like there was some flecks of paint on here. When I get done with this, I want this thing to look like it just came out of Stromberg Carlson's factory. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some, I got some Dial hand soap here. I guess I could use some of that. I want to wash the surface of this and just get the dirt and stuff off of it. And then after that, I'll let it dry, and then well, we'll go on to the next step from there. So we'll just worry about, let's try to get most of the dirt off of this right now. This looks like bits of paint. Try to remove that with my nail. Most of it's coming off. Well, maybe that was just dirt. Okay. So people go take their car to the car wash. We take the radio to the radio wash. So it's time consuming. It's just going to take a while. So I won't bore you with all this. There's my shop buddy. Hey, Burr. Want to say hello to everybody on YouTube? Hello. Burr is now 5 years old, and he still comes down and visits me working in the shop. Okay, I've taken and I've cleaned both pieces, and if you noticed, this piece here I removed from the case. Now the reason why I did that is that the top piece, or this piece here, which is actually kind of doubling as a handle, this actually would go in the radio. There, get them in there lined up. Now it's going to make me look bad here. Oh, I had it in the wrong spot. There we go. So now the radio looks like that. All right, and actually right now, just with just a cleaning and a wipe down with just a damp cloth. By the way, I used these cloths here. These are Scott towels that you can get from your local Costco. And you can see that's all the stuff coming off of the plastic and people smoking cigarettes and cigars and stuff like that over here. But right now the case looks pretty good just as it is. But then you could also see all the little minor blemishes on here. So although I could probably put this back together and give it to the owner and say, okay, here's your radio, and they'd probably be happy. But that's kind of sort of not good enough for me. So let me pull this guy back off. I have to almost get it straight up like so. And what I'm going to do is, with the two pieces still separated, this is brown Bakelite. Okay, Bakelite, as you all know, is a plastic. Now, what's plastics made out of? Well, you can't really have plastics unless you have oil. And that's an integral part. Now, this radio being, well, let's assume that it's a 40s radio. So you're looking at, 70 plus years old. These things can dry up, all right? So what you have to do with this is that you need to put some sort of an oil-based product on here to resurrect it. I don't like using polishes, all right, because polishes typically don't have any oil in it. So to resurrect this thing and make it look real nice, you need to use oil. And you can probably see it in the reflection of the light here. You can see that there's a few small blemishes. There's one here, one here. But you're not going to see that too well anyway, because this piece is going to be over top of it. And, it's kind of funny. It looks kind of cool with this hole in here. You could probably just go in here, and if you have a bad tube or something like that, you can just go in there and pull one tube out and test it or check it or whatever. But I've actually had 30 years in the plastics industry. And I'm not a polymer chemist. I was, dealt with machinery and robotics and automation and things of that nature. I worked for a Japanese machine tool company for almost 12 years. So, and I also knew how to mold plastics as well as how machines are put together and taking that stuff apart and putting it back together. This is, we're doing this radio right here. So, if you want to know more about plastics and radios together, I put a small presentation for the New Jersey Antique Radio Club back in October, and I'll put the link in the description so you can see, the things that I was talking about as far as plastics and radios. I was fairly general. I didn't get too high tech on everybody because, they don't have the experience and knowledge that I do. So it's just kind of fun to be able to give back to the club for them, let me have a lot of opportunities. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this case, I'm going to take this cover, and I'm going to use brown shoe polish, like a good boot polish, and go over this thing and the top. I'm going to buff the two of them out, and then I'm going to put this and fasten it back together. By the way, you probably say, how the heck did you get it off? There's 6 pins that are molded or inserted into the mold, and I guess then they mold a part around it. And then they have clips that look like this that hold that on there. So anyway, I'll put the link in the description if you'd like to learn more about plastics and how they go in antique radios and how the machines work that make these things. So let me get to work. Okay, it's cleaned up and now polished. So all I did was I used brown shoe polish, and it took me a little more than an hour. You can even see the reflection in there, how nice that looks. You can see how it looks. It just shines like it would look like it was brand new. And it's just the oil. It's the oil that really makes that thing pop. So all I need to do now is just clean the bezel, throw that back in there, and then it should be ready for the chassis. Okay, here's the radio with the cabinet all nice and polished up. Actually looks really nice. I think it just really pops now. But I still have a little problem here. I'm going to try to zip this in here so you can see. If focus on the radio dial itself. I'll go to the right corner first. And if you look, there's actually a gap between the dial and the side of the case right here, and the same gap is on this side. So what happened was, I didn't do this on camera. Let me zip back out of this thing. But I had put the chassis in and tried to get the selector to aim up good with the tuning, and it was off. And I think it, you know, and no matter how I try to set up the oscillator and trim it and all that, I just really couldn't get the line up, the pointer to line up to the dial indicators as they're printed on the radios. So I sent out a call to help from my brethren in the New Jersey Antique Radio Club. Okay, now as you see pictured, I'll just bring this down a little bit, get a little bit better in the picture. And wouldn't you know, President Rich came to my rescue, and he had one of these dials, which is this one. I haven't cleaned it yet. You see how this one is kind of nice and shiny. Well, I had taken the time and gotten the dirt and polished it off. But I'm going to bring this down. I'll tell you what, I'm going to make one side totally even. I'll make the left side here. So both of these are pretty even here. And then if you look at the right side, you see that gap of difference there? That's probably, I'm going to venture a guess without having to be scientific, but I'll say that's 3/16 to almost 1/4 of an inch difference. So that I suspect that after I clean this up and put it in the radio, this should the needle should track a lot more accurately than, say, this shrunken one here. And you can see too that even after I clean this dial, this still has more yellowing on it than this. So I would think that whoever was the original owner of the radio may have been a smoker, a pipe smoker, or a cigarette smoker, or a cigar smoker. This one isn't so bad, and the little bit of tinge on there, most of that should come off after I polish it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Novus #1 and just go over it, and that should get most of the cloudiness and stuff off, and I'll pop this on the radio and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, here's the radio all together and done.
The option to live there, so that they get it before he can become.
The new dial's in place.
This is.
And it tracks accurately with the stations now.
It is.
I just have this in the kitchen right now because it just seems to have the best light.
So at that point, listen, we would both admit this though. I root for Buffalo because January football with a quarterback like.
Truth of the matter is that this camera isn't doing this case justice. You could actually, I suppose if I had a better camera or better light, you'd be able to see the swirl. I polished the heck out of this cabinet, and I was able to, you could really see all the little things in the plastic. It's just, it looks really, really, really cool. So, well, now we just have to wait for the prospective owner to pick it up now. So we'll see what happens. You remember what you brought over, right?
Yes.
Pretty much, kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it was sitting around or put it in a box somewhere for a while, right?
Yeah, we didn't clean it or anything. We didn't touch it. We just had it.
Well, I took care of that for you.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh, it's so shiny. Wow.
So it's been electrically restored, and I also did the cosmetics on it.
Beautiful.
So it looks like it's brand new.
It does look new.
And it does play. It's still, but it's playing better than it did before.
Awesome.
So.
It's beautiful.